All right, guys. Our next speaker is someone that I've had the privilege to meet a few years ago. Became from somebody who I just met in passing. I went to go check out his car. He has a car that's incredible. The details to it are incredible. And I was amazed by his detail, his work. And about 6 months later, I truly got to meet this guy. And I actually learned a little bit more even about you last night from my brother. Robert has become from someone I've just gone by passing to a good friend. His beautiful wife Trudy is there to talk to them and to meet them. They become your best friends just like this. The environment that Robert has come from, you make movies from. This guy has been to hell, and he found his way from hell, and this guy goes back every day into hell to try to help people come out and find freedom. This guy, his office are the toughest prisons throughout the world. His office are people like the Manson family. This is stuff that he does. This is just what he does every day, him and his wife. But the story, everything he has shared with me, the stories that he has shared is that he's had choices, but the environment is always dictated. You don't get, this is a life you've been given, so that's it. You're done. He's proven it to be different. He's proven it that there are choices, there's options, and that this is a man that environment does not dictate what he's going to do. My brother, he shared this with me the other day. He met somebody who knows you, and he goes, Dave, my brother has the utmost respect for Robert. He goes, that's the lizard. I'm like, yeah, that's what they used to call him. And he goes, he was one of the meanest, baddest guys there was in Los Angeles. So to know where this guy's come from, to know where he's at, this guy is the example of serving. Him and his wife, that's all they do. So Robert, please come and share your journey with us, your story.
Thank you.
You bet, brother. Absolutely.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Frias, and just to let you know a little bit about myself, I've been married 47 years, and I got married at 17 years old, and I turned my wife into a dope fiend. But just a real brief story is I've been stabbed 20-something times. I overdosed 3 times in my life. I'm a total illiterate. I can't spell that word ELV. I can't spell that word. I can't spell real estate. I can't spell PRO, whatever that word is. I'm a total illiterate, okay? And, but what happened was, in 1981, I was fighting a life sentence, plus 5 years on top of a life sentence. We stabbed a person in church at a Catholic church, 1,500 people in there. We stabbed him, almost killed him in church. And I left there, and I heard a voice. And it said, Robert. And Robert's not even my real name. I found out 4 years ago my real name's Joseph, but I still go by Robert. And where do you want to go, hell or heaven? It's all the voice I ever heard. God whispered that in my ear. Make a long story short, because it's just sake of time. I walked in a church in 1981. I was selling dope to the mafia, St. Louis Cardinals, professional athletes, just a lot of people. And I've seen, this wasn't even planned, but I've seen tables from the floor there, nothing but drugs, money stacked this high, brothers. The whole thing right here. I've seen it. But something happened to me. I walked into church in 1981. I sat in the back row. And somebody said, would you want Jesus in your heart? I told them no. And they said, can we pray for you? I said, yes. And they prayed for me. And right there, I kneeled down. And it was like God cut me from here to here, opened me up, broke my sternum, took an old wicked heart out, and put a brand new heart in me. And I know people that have had heart transplants. A good friend of mine had a heart transplant. She was like 65 years old. They flew a heart in, and they put it in her. And a year later, she said, Robert, I feel like I'm 21 years old, because they put a 21-year-old heart in her. And when God put that new heart in me, I thought I was going to live this way my entire environment. But somebody taught me, and they said to me, Robert, you make minimum amount of money a day. I'm 65 years old, maybe $5-6 an hour, and lived in a garage. When me and my wife got married, and I started buying property. Somebody said, you're not going to go nowhere in life. Property's where money's at. I didn't understand it. But I saved my money. I had like $6,000 in my pocket. And my wife said, I want to own a home. Renting. Somebody said rent. Rent. Because I thought that was my mentality. Rent to the day I die. Discomfort was said here today. Discomfort. I had $6,000 in my pocket, and I spanked my daughter, and they called the cops on me, and they took her away from me. Discomfort. Was I going to fall apart right there? Or was I going to continue to buy property, my first property? Or was I just going to throw the towel in? I did nothing wrong but spank her. And they said I spanked her too hard. Okay? To make a long story short, they brought her home 3 days later and said there's nothing wrong here. The person that brought her home was a social worker, and she said, we need more people like you. That's why we got kids the way they are today, even worse today. But that discomfort, I could have threw the towel in. But I said, we're going to continue and buy this property. And we bought our first property. I paid 14% at properties. I hope interest rate goes up. I do. I hope it goes. I don't care about interest rates. You know what I mean? 2%, 3%. Probably no time in history it's ever happened. Okay? It can go up to 14%. It won't buckle me one bit. Interest rate doesn't feather me. Okay? Because I learned something. Whatever goes up comes down. It's a ride. But you're going to have some discouragement time. You're going to have something called intestinal fortitude. For you educated people that don't know what intestinal fortitude means, means this: you better have a backbone. Okay? And from that, our first property was $20,000, 65 years old. Okay? Some of you are a lot younger than me. First property, $20,000. Second property, maybe $40,000. Third property, I paid $95,000 for it. I lived there 9 years. And my wife had $350,000 cash in her pocket when she sold the property. And I told her, hey, if you want to run, take the $300,050 and go. Okay? I'm in Arizona preaching because I'm a preacher. I do prison. Susan Atkins, Mr. Salazar said, I signed off on her death certificate. Manson family. She was a good friend of mine. They have a book on me published from Sinner to Soul Winner. I brought a couple of them. And she said, Robert. I go, what, Susan? She goes, I'm going to give you my book, and I'm going to sign it, but you're going to have to give me your book and sign it. And we exchanged books. I knew her real good. I was there when she was dying on her deathbed. When she died and she was in the mortuary, I drove there. She had a leg cut off. I took a picture with her, and I signed off on her death certificate. I deal with a lot of people that are down and out. And one thing I learned, and somebody taught me this years ago, Robert, can you go in a bank today and borrow any money? I go, no. They say, what's your FICO score? Maybe 500. Gentleman told me, I'm going to help you. If you listen to me, you'll walk in a bank and they'll bow down to you. I go, how do you do that? He said, I'm going to get your FICO score to 850. Okay? The Bible says, humble thyself in the sight of the Lord, he'll lift you up. Pride comes before a fall. I'm not here with no pride in my life. I'm just sharing with you. By the grace of God, I got 850 FICO score. I go anywhere and buy anything I want right now. Okay? Because FICO scores almost everything. A lot of times, real estate. I made about $2 million on real estate. I just went to we're looking for another property, and we just went to look at a property, $1.3 million. We're not buying it because it's just too much money. And when they appraised just the assets I got, it was $2 million. Yeah, anybody have $2 million in here? Okay. Not to disgrace nobody at all. No, I'm just telling you what they appraised. All my assets at $2 million. Why am I saying this? I've learned in life, real estate goes up and it goes down. Real estate's not coming down. Forecast, it's going up another 0.5 point before the end of the year. It's forecast. If it does or it doesn't, I would still buy. If I seen that property right now for 300-something thousand, that duplex, and it was in California, I would have bought it right now. Okay, right now. I would have told Mr. Seller, hey, give me the papers. What do you want down there? I'll give you the money, 200, 300, 400,000. I'll get you right now. Why? Somebody taught me. And if I could help I'm not a real estate guy. I can go on a real estate. Me and her go look at house all the time. What agent you work for? I'm not an agent. Well, how do you know all this stuff? Everything that the gentleman was saying up here, I know that in my head already. You know, and I can't read and write. You know what I mean? But 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is not 30. It's 4. That's simple mathematics I learned in life. You tell me a house at $500,000, I'll tell you what the payment's going to be. I'll tell you what the insurance is going to be. I don't need nobody to tell me how to do it. I already know how to do it. Because it's just plain and simple. And this is for me coming to share with you. I'm not here to I beg you, I'm not here to say something. I'm just here to encourage you guys. Hey, we got to fight. Nothing's going to be handed to you. I'll give you this last example. Rod Carew played for Los Angeles Angels. Batting titles, he's won all these batting titles. Rod Carew needs a heart transplant. He's on a heart transplant list. Well, all of a sudden, a heart comes in for Rod Carew. Rod Carew's maybe 60 years old at the time. True story. And they say, Rod, you need to go to the hospital tonight. Your heart came in. A young man, maybe 20, 25 years old, died in a car accident. They rescued his heart. You're going to get that heart, Rod. They put that heart in Rod Carew. Rod Carew never drank coffee in his life, never drank coffee. He told his wife, I'm craving a cup of coffee. She goes, Rod, you've never drank coffee in your life. She said, Rod Carew tells his wife, but I want it black. She tells Rod, you never had coffee, you never craved coffee, and you never wanted it black. What's going on? He said, I don't know, but I'm craving it. Well, Rod Carew got a chance to meet the mother of the young man that died. And he tells her, ma'am, I got a question for you. Why do I like coffee, but I like it black? She goes, oh, Rod, I got to tell you about my son. He loved coffee, but he loved it black. What did he do? He had a heart transplant. He was craving coffee from somebody else. And what I'm trying to tell us this afternoon now is no matter what happens in life, we're going to have our ups and we're going to have our downs. But through it all, it's all going to work out. I'm 65 years old. This gentleman might be a little older than me, about a year. But life always worked out. That's why we're still alive. Discouragement time's going to come. Hardships are going to come. Disappointment's going to come. But that's just life. What do? I get up every morning. I got up at 6 o'clock this morning to pray and to read before I came here, because that's my lifeline. God is everything to me. And I met Dave. He said, I'd like you to come to share with my clients. We can make it. We can make it. I help people all over the place. Brother Kurt Wallace got out of prison. Was in San Quentin at 17 years old. Unheard of, 17 years old. Big old white boy. I met him in prison. He walked out with a duffel bag out of prison. That man made over $2 million a year in real estate. If he was still alive today, he would own the city of Chino. What was it? He had a gold. He passed away about 6 years ago. His wife probably owns 20 properties. He has 3 boys. They don't even work. Why? They live off that properties. All those properties. But from me to my wife, thank Dave, Mr. Salazar for inviting us out here. And I want to thank everyone here to tell you, it's going to be all right. Don't worry about interest. Don't worry about it. I've seen it at 21%. I see that at 28% interest. I point to you because we're kind of the same age. I'm from California. I don't know where, but it's all works the same. You've seen it too. We got spoiled brats at 2%. Spoiled brats. It goes to 3. Oh my gosh. 4. Oh, what are we going to do? I told me, let it go to 15. I like 15. You know, why? Buy a house property at 15%. It could be a year. It could be 5 years. Your payment might be $3,400, $5,000 a month, but that interest will come down because that's just the history of the United States of America. Somewhere down the line, all they're doing right now is they're trying to stabilize it right now because it's growing too fast. You get the right man in the White House, you get the right man to bring this interest rate, and then your payment from $5,000 will be $2,200. I'm done, okay? Because I only had a short time. But for me and my wife, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. One thing that Robert, he shared a lot. He's a real, in terms of his humility, and he doesn't like to wow himself to people. But let me do it for him. You know, this guy, he truly doesn't have hope. This guy believes totally in faith. He tastes it, sees it, whatever he's going to go do, he does it. And a lot of the prisoners he goes and meets every single day, they have no hope. They've lost hope to society, to people, to the system. And he brings them faith, meaning they know just a matter of time, not a matter of if. It's going to happen, just a matter of when. And he's able to give people an opportunity, a chance, in order to know their environment does not dictate their outcomes. I saw a video that was on YouTube of Robert. He had a little car show that they did at his house, and all the guys who were at his house were ex-cons. People had served time in some of the hardest prisons, but they were showing all their beautiful cars, stuff they had done. All of them talked about that one day they were going to have their own car to show their work. It was something that they wanted to do. But all of them had, again, their environment. A lot of people who come out of prison have a hard time trying to get themselves settled, right, in life. They homeless. They end up homeless. They end up they end up going back, right? The neat thing about Robert is that he has not only taught them to have faith in getting out or faith in doing what they're supposed to be doing in life, but he has taught them how to keep moving forward no matter how painful it might be. He's a guy who bathes in pain, and he deals, that's his office. It's what he sees. So my hat off to Robert for how he sees life and how he lives his life. You know, we all come from different faiths. Some of us believe in Buddha, Mother Nature, God, whatever it might be. We all have the same baseline. When I met him, second time I met him, he said something to me, and it stopped me in my tracks. You guys know me. I'm always moving. I got to go, and I don't got time. He said something to me. He had just brought his wife home. His wife, at the time, his wife was, she had cancer. Doctors, we're done. There's nothing we can do. He said something that he just said so matter of fact. In fact, when I left, I talked to my wife. I'm going, how do you be so chill? He was so relaxed. He goes, I'm kind of glad the doctors are done so God can start doing his work. And I just sit there and I go, I don't care what you believe in. That's called having just faith. And he was just like matter of fact about it. And so I sat there, and that's been about 2 years, Robert, something like that. And I'm like, I told Jen. Jen goes, "That really bothered you?" I'm like, "Yeah, they've been married forever," and it did. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Well, what's neat about it, I don't know how it works. All I do know is that Trudy is in remission and she's doing phenomenal. She's doing great. But it's not even the outcome. It was their perspective at the time. They had a perspective of their environment was not going to dictate their outcome. So I think they're great examples for all of us. As we get busy at work, we get busy in business, remember, we can't be bigger than, our business cannot be bigger than us. So we got to build us in order for our businesses to grow. It's a reflection of who we are. So what I challenge you with is, before we go grab some lunch, is I challenge you guys to really look at and start asking, how do you build yourself to get your business to the next level? Remember, you can build your business, but unless you got this, you're building this, your business, it just has no merit, no catalyst in order to keep it moving, to keep it forward. So, Robert, Trudy, we appreciate you guys. You guys have come a long way, so we appreciate you both. All right, guys.